Mike Sempervive here with you for the next hour talking about professional wrestling, which is something we do every single day here on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network. Tune in, iHeart, American Forces Radio, sportsbyline.com, over-the-air affiliates like KMAV, 99 KMSR, and the mightier 1090. Podcast replays on SiriusXM, or maybe you're video streaming on Twitch or YouTube. However you're joining me today, I'd just like to say thank you. Hopefully wherever you are, it's sunny outside. And if not, hopefully it's sunny inside your mind. Another cold and windy day here on Delmarva. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. NXT is tonight. Someone tweeted Alvarez and let him know that the show comes on at 6 p.m. in Hawaii. Okay? Make sure that he knows that. I know he's going to be spending some of his vacation indulging in professional wrestling. Not a lot of it, but at least some of it. And it's got to be NXT if it's anything, right? It's his favorite show. We're going to have the whole world-famous NXT review coming up tomorrow. But first, we're going to have to get through the world-famous Monday Night Raw review. It was last night from Des Moines, Iowa. 3 title matches, 1 championship change. There are new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. No CM Punk last night in Seth Rollins' home state, but Drew McIntyre was there, and they had a pretty good promo battle going back and forth last night leading into their match on January 1st, the Day 1 edition of Raw. And we know also 4 matches for that show. In addition to the world title match, we're going to have a women's world title match as well between Rhea Ripley and Ivy Nile, as well as Becky Lynch against Nia Jax, and Tegan Nox and Natalya against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. During the review, we'll let you know how they got there. Plus, some new additions have been made to New Japan Battle in the Valley. And we'll run down the ever-expanding Pro Wrestling Injured Reserve when we get back from break. Wrestling Observer Live.
There's the front row being pretty quiet over there. Oh, come on. Armbar.
show. Mike Sempervive here with you. You know, we do this show for an hour at a time every single day, but if you want us 24/7, you can try to find us on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, at Sempervive, at Filthy Tom Lawler, and at Sports Byline USA. You also need to make the wrestling news part of your day. Everything you need to know to get your day started, get you up to date, or get you to your favorite review pod, like Dave and Jim Valley. That's who's going to be making up this Wednesday/Thursday Wrestling Observer Radio after Dynamite. But each episode of the Wrestling News is between 5 and 15 minutes long, 365 days a year. No clickbait, no speculation or rumors, just the wrestling news. Find it wherever you find your favorite podcasts, or head on over to thewrestlingnews.com or at Wrestling News AV on Facebook and Twitter. Filthy Tom Lawler once again joins me here today. Filthy, are you excited? NXT's tonight.
I am excited. I'll be watching strictly for the purposes of this show tomorrow, just like I watched Raw last night for the purposes of this show today. I figured, Mike, that we couldn't just be here on the air ribbing each other for everyone's pleasure for 45 minutes. We'd have to talk about some wrestling.
The things I could say, I'm not going to say because I don't need the FCC violation. But, Filthy, has this caused a big rift in your household at all or anything like that? Like, honey, look, I can't help you with the kids right now. I got to spend the next 3 hours watching Monday Night Raw.
Well, I got Raw in while everybody else was asleep, just in case there was something on there that was so egregious and embarrassing that I didn't want to associate myself with professional wrestling. But luckily, it hasn't been that way for quite a while. And I thought Raw was fine.
It was, yeah. We'll get to it during the review. I thought it was a good show. It's 3 hours, as it always is, so it's long. NXT, not as long. It's only 2 hours. And last Wednesday, they taped 2 weeks of TV. So if you've been hiding under a rock and don't like spoilers, well, you know, pay attention here for the next 2 weeks. There are 2 WWE NXT breakout tournament first-round matches tonight. Lexis King, who replaced Trey Bearhill, will face Dion Lennox, who he was wearing glasses in the intro, and he reminded me of Showtime Percy Watson. You remember that dude? The whoo, oh yeah. Remember that Percy Watson? No? Showtime? Sure. No? Okay. Tavion Heights will also be in action, facing off against the lawyer, Luca Crucifino. So last week, Obafemi defeated Miles Bourne, and Riley Osborne defeated Keanu Carter. So this whole thing is going to wrap up coming up after the new year. WWE NXT, I should say, North American title, Dragon Lee defends against whoever Drew Gulak chooses from his no quarter catch crew. Do you think that's a catchy name for a shoot fight team, Tom?
I guess they're trying to go for a play off of Catch Point, but the No Quarter Catch Crew, NQCC.
Yeah. BCCC, NQCC, NRBQ. I don't know. I don't like that one. Why don't I just call them Catch Point? Wouldn't Drew? Who owns Catch Point? I wonder who owns that trademark.
Probably, I would guess Drew Gulak or Gabe Sapolsky or someone of that ilk.
I would hope it's actually Stokely Hathaway, but I seriously doubt it. But the buff Barbie, Tiffany Stratton, is going to be in action. Ellen Henley, if you want to know what they're going to be referred to on the main roster one day. Nikita Lyons faces off against Tatum Paxley. Izzy Dame and Kiana James against Chase U, which is JC Jane and Thea Hale, of course. Gallus, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang against Hank and Tank in a match that was made in the bar last week. And everything leads to New Year's Evil on January 2nd when Ilya Dragunov defends the NXT title against Trick Williams. Lyra Valkyria faces Blair Davenport for the NXT women's title. And the finals of the breakout men's tournament will also take place. And one person that has been a fixture on NXT this year has been Dominic Mysterio, and he and his father have reportedly signed new deals with WWE, according to PW Insider, and yesterday on the front page of WrestlingObserver.com, one source indicated to PW Insider that Dominic's new contract is for 5 years and was signed last month. It's not known for how long Ray's new contract will run for. Ray's current run in WWE began in October of 2018, and Dominic has been with the company since August of 2020. One of Rey Mysterio's reasonings for wanting to continue on in WWE was because he believed that that was going to be the best place for his son to catch footing. And Tom, I think he is correct.
What a premonition by Rey Mysterio, because just years ago, if you would have predicted the rise of Dominic Mysterio to being one of the genuinely most hated acts in recent memory in professional wrestling, people would have called you absolutely insane. People were calling for Rey Mysterio to go to AEW when he had the chance. Why? Why would he re-sign with WWE and be subjected to all the terrible things over the years? They're always looking, like, as Brian Alvarez, our fearless leader, says, they're always looking for a new Latin American star that can speak Spanish out there. Well, Ray knows that, and not only does he carry that mantle, but now he has done a great job of getting his son set up to, you know, I would imagine one day he'll be a big-time babyface act when he decides to turn. But regardless, you could not have predicted, you could not have written a better story for Dominic Mysterio over these past 3 years. He could have gone anywhere else and not been used as well as he has in the WWE. And like I said, people would have called you crazy if you would have said that years ago.
Do they use people well in WWE? Do they? Because if that's the case, do you think that that will calm the nerves of some New Japan fans out there? The Super J podcast, which is part of the Voices of Wrestling podcast network, posted a tweet on Sunday that has caused diehard New Japan fans to once again double over with a case of agita. It read, quote, "It appears that the bloom, B capitalized in that, may be off the rose for Okada and NJPW," end quote. Does not take Hercule Poirot to figure out that Okada has likely taken on American agent Barry Bloom to represent him during his negotiations. And to me, that means either he is very serious about wanting to relocate, or, and this is what New Japan fans are hoping for, Okada is very serious about making Bushiroad believe that he's open to relocate to North America. Obviously, you'll be seeing him coming up in San Jose. You'll be seeing him in Las Vegas. Maybe he might stay at your house when he goes and does that Impact show, Filthy. But can you, I don't know, assuage any fears of New Japan fans? I mean, what's your take on this situation? What's your take on the possibility that he has now gotten Barry Bloom to do his negotiations for him?
Well, traditionally, and I'm not privy to the details of Okada's contract, but traditionally the contracts would be coming up in about a month or so, would they not? I believe
they are indeed.
February is contract season for New Japan, and much like we had a situation where Shinsuke Nakamura and, if I'm not mistaken, AJ Styles left at the same time, Okada is mid-30s. He's just had his first child, and that causes a lot of changes in someone's life, you know, good and bad. You have time to reflect back, look upon what you've done, look towards the future, what you want to do. Time is finite. Sometimes having a child makes you realize that, and maybe that is the impetus behind Okada looking towards the West, looking towards perhaps wrestling in the WWE, much like Shinsuke Nakamura did, much like AJ Styles left to do. And we're going to see if he makes it rain overseas or not.
You hear the Memphis wrestling music playing, which means we got to go to break and do some commerce. When we get back, we'll talk more about Okada and what's coming up at the Battle in the Valley event in San Jose, California. Wrestling Observer Live.
Don't do it, man.
Wrestling Observer Live, Mike Sempervive here with you alongside Filthy Tom Lawler, talking about that Okada situation. You know, one of the reasons that I could see him staying in Japan is because his wife has got an already established career and he's got a young child. But I guess there's the flip side of that, which is when you have a child who has just been born, that gives you some time, even if you wanted your child to be educated in the Japanese education system. You still have like 5 years of the kid being here, or at least 4 years, whatever a contract would be for Kazuchika Okada, where he could test the waters and then always go back if he so chose. It's interesting. I mean, this is, and obviously it is disturbing for a lot of New Japan fans who are, again, you're seeing the end after so many years of Tanahashi, even if he wins the IWGP TV title coming up. Naito, odds are he's going to win the IWGP World Heavyweight title at the Dome show, but his days are obviously numbered. You've seen the push of the younger stars, the new quote-unquote Three Musketeers, along with Uemura and some of the other guys who have come back off of excursion. It's going to be an interesting year for New Japan next year, Tom. And obviously, you're going to have, hopefully some part in that and some stake in that kind of moving forward here. But this is feeling like right now just a incredible transition year, and there is likely going to be a lot of bumps in the road.
Yeah,
Am I
Mike,
crazy?
No. Well, yes, but not for that statement. Okada, if we can backtrack a little and talk about specifically him, you mentioned his wife having a career in Japan, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe she is a highly sought-after voice actor. So I believe that's work you can, probably do remotely if you had to. Certainly you can't do in-person acting remotely. However, I would imagine you could record your voice from another area of the world and get it to another part well enough to make it work. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's going to be necessarily a hindrance to Okada's choice. All as far as New Japan overall goes, they are still feeling the effects of COVID, as are all of the Japanese promotions. And more so than any other company, they were the ones that were most affected by the rise of AEW. And now, while they do have a relationship with them and they do benefit from being able to bring in stars like Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, or Daniel Bryan, obviously, they did not expand as much as they were hoping to in the West. And losing those guys did hurt domestically, I'm sure, as well. So as far as in Japan. So they are still feeling the effects of things that have happened over the past few years. And this could be a situation at Wrestle Kingdom, kind of like last year, where the whole story was Okada winning the G1, becoming the greatest champion of all time, kind of surpassing Inoki as the representative of New Japan Pro Wrestling. New Japan does a good job of setting up these storylines over the course of a year, and maybe this story that culminates at the end of this year is the passing of the torch from the guys like Okada, from the guys like Tanahashi, from the guys like Naito. Maybe this is their last stand at the top of the card, and next year it'll be the rise of Tsuji. It'll be the rise of Shota Umino. It'll be the rise of Ren Narita, who have defeated multiple times. But perhaps this year is a changing of the guard in a lot of ways, and the last stand for these New Japan stalwarts.
A lot of those New Japan stalwarts, well, not a lot of them. Actually, it's not a lot of New Japan stalwarts. It's a lot of the newer guys, in a lot of ways, will be making their way over to the United States for the second annual Battle in the Valley event on Saturday, January 13th, 9 days after Wrestle Kingdom 18 at the San Jose Civic. New Japan yesterday confirmed Shota Umino, Rocky Romero, TJP, Bad Dude Tito, David Finlay, Gabe Kidd, Alex Coughlin, Fred Rosser, and all of Team Filthy will be in action at Battle in the Valley. They join Okada, Will Ospreay, Julia, Zack Sabre Jr., Eddie Kingston, El Phantasmo, and Hikuleo. The second annual Battle in the Valley event. Last year's, of course, had Okada and Tanahashi, and what a lot of people believe was their last singles match in the United States, along with Mercedes Moné and Kairi. Obviously, a much different dynamic this year, Filthy, but you and the boys are back, but I also see Fred Rosser on the card. You going to finally just get rid of this dude once and for all?
I'd like to, but Mike, as you know, I am not the booker of New Japan, because as you read off that card, that list of names, if I was the booker, you know what match I'd make immediately?
Knowing you, it would be a gauntlet match where you got to beat up everybody.
I'd make the Modern American Grand Slam Championship and throw Eddie Kingston in there against Julia in a battle for the ages.
My money's on Julia at this point. No offense to Ed, but, He's carrying around a lot of injuries all the time. He's got a lot of issues with him. I wouldn't be betting money against Julia in that match.
He may be softened up by the end of this Continental Classic, which has been spectacular, by the way. Some of the best wrestling that's been on American TV in years.
And everything, look, I said it on Friday. My predictions seem to be playing themselves out pretty well for the Continental Classic, at least when it comes to the Blue League matches. Everything kind of went the way I thought on Saturday, and Eddie Kingston, I still think, is going to work his way back in. It's going to require Brody King to lose to Daniel Garcia, who would be picking up his first win in the tournament if he does so. But that would open up the door, regardless of what happens with Bryan Danielson and Claudio. That opens up the door for Eddie Kingston, if he gets a victory, to go on and actually make his way into the semifinals. From how you're looking at things right now, because in the Gold League, really, there's only three names who are in the mix. It's Swerve, it's Jay White, and it's Jon Moxley, who right now is in the lead right there. Still several people, along with Bryan Danielson, in the mix when it comes to the blue side. When this thing finally shakes out, what kind of Final Four do you think we're going to get?
I think we will get Eddie Kingston in one of the number two, in the two slot in his league or division. I think Bryan Danielson will come out of that block as well. And then on the other side, my guess, what's the next matchup? Have we had Swerve versus Moxley yet?
It's actually, let's see. Let me try to find this here, because I had it written down. I don't know where the hell it went. But I believe it is Swerve and Roosh, which and that's the one I think, Tom, because it would get Swerve out of there if they go to a draw, and we have not had one yet. So what I'm thinking there is you have a double disqualification, and I think it could serve two masters in that it gets Jay White in with Jon Moxley. You have your first draw, your first no decision, your first double disqualification, which proves things like this can happen in the tournament. And it also gives you a little bit of time, because if Swerve is going to be a heel, then you're going to have to figure out a way to get this guy booed. And it may be against Roosh and his faction where that could happen. If not, you have the situation with him as a babyface where, again, he can still battle Roosh, and it kind of takes him out of the mix for right now and keeps him active. Is that make any sense to you, or is that fantasy booking gone awry?
It makes perfect sense to me. I think it's very good fantasy booking, actually, and it leaves multiple storylines that could play out with Jon Moxley and Jay White making it through, because then you would have either one of them facing Eddie Kingston who rid New Japan of Jay White in the first place about a year ago, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a little bit less than that, maybe 8 months ago. You would also have the long storyline of Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley's friendship and feud, right?
Yeah.
You could then have Eddie Kingston defeat Jon Moxley, then defeat Bryan Danielson, who already defeated him earlier in this tournament in the finals, to win that Triple Crown. And sometimes the most obvious storyline is the best one, right? And the simple fact that they created a modern American Triple Crown leads you to believe that the person who would best suit would be Eddie Kingston. And I think that's the way to go.
I think it is too, and I would assume Eddie Kingston, after winning the Continental Classic, shows up at the Dome show. I think he will. There's still a couple of matches they could add, and I think Umino and Narita makes complete sense for them. But then also with what they did, merging those belts, give Bryan Danielson a traveling partner over there alongside Jon Moxley. Have Eddie Kingston go over and defend that title. You know what it's time for? The world-famous Monday Night Raw review when we get back. Wrestling Observer Live.
pin him. Damn, you gotta stop laying on your head like that.
Let's go, Treehouse.
So your name's Turtle.
Smoke for sure.
Figure four? A figure four? You can know the figure four? That's too funny. And a sleeper. Where's the insecurity?
He likes it. Use more.
You look bad on that one.
Drop it back.
On that. That's it. Super kick. Uh-oh. Oh, he gets crushed.
Show Mike Sempervive and Filthy Tom Lawler here with you, Wrestling Observer Live. We have been really good about hitting our times here recently. That may be all out the window right here because it's time for the world famous Monday Night Raw review. Tom, you ready?
No. But let's do it anyways, baby.
Judgment Day opened the show with an in-ring promo. Finn Balor talked about he and Priest title match later on against the Creed brothers. Rhea Ripley promised Ivy Nile if she kept sticking her nose in Rhea's business that she'd get beaten worse than Maxine Dupree. Hopefully it's better looking than that match, which was a bowling shoe. Then, as Dominic Mysterio got ready to speak, R-Truth made his way to the ring. He believes he's in Judgment Day because last week he was initiated with a beatdown. He says Finn and Damian are looking to fight, Rhea's looking to fight, and he is too. So to squash the beef that he has with JD McDonagh, Truth proposed a street fight. JD reminded him that the match had already been made, so Truth decided to make it a loser leaves Judgment Day match, which no one in Judgment Day wanted, except for Damian Priest, who thought it was a great idea. They go right into the match. Fake gift boxes, trays of cookies, candy cane kendo sticks, all that sort of stuff. Before a commercial break, Dominic shoved Truth into the ring post. When they came back, Truth was pulling out a table from underneath the ring. He took out Mysterio, hit McDonagh with a fire extinguisher, or the spray of it at least, not the extinguisher itself. Hit him with a Christmas tree and the You Can't See Me fist drop. Truth then set JD on the table and went up to the top rope. JD got up off the table, went after him, but Truth fell forward. They both went crashing through the table, and Truth got the pin in about 10 minutes. Tom, there's an opening in Judgment Day, at least in theory there is. They decided to close that hole up later on, but could you imagine being a part of that group?
With R-Truth?
Yeah.
It would be great. Are you kidding
You know,
me?
I've been watching old NWA Wild Sides from the early 2000s, and I remember Ron the Truth Killings in TNA. I remember him when he was released by WWF the first time around after being K-Quick and hanging out with Road Dogg. I mean, obviously he's aged a little bit, but this dude still looks the same as he did damn near 30 years ago. It's absolutely amazing. He's just amazing physical specimen, still doing the splits and all that sort of stuff after all those quad injuries and everything else that he's had. R-Truth is back. Then it was time for Nia Jax, who came to the ring to cut a promo, but before she said anything, Becky Lynch made her way out. Nia bailed. She said she had entered herself into the Royal Rumble. The fans didn't care. Becky pointed that out. Nia said the people were afraid of what she'd do to Becky. She's going to break her face again. Lynch said that Nia's whole persona is based on riding somebody else's coattails. Lynch said she was the best to ever do it, ran Nia down until Nia finally had enough. She called for a ref, fake getting into the ring, and then said the match would happen in 2 weeks on the Day 1 Raw. Nia then made a crack about Becky's daughter visiting her in the hospital and saying that she was uglier than usual, which caused Lynch to attack her on the ramp. Nia ended up getting the best of that before the segment ended, and that was that. Intercontinental title? Yes.
Am I the only one? I'm just sick of everybody bringing people's families into it. Why is it always about the sons and daughters? If I'm trash talking somebody for a fight, that's not what I'm bringing up. You know what I mean? This seems to be, it's like the lowest hanging fruit, so they just choose it every time.
Well, it's pro wrestling, which usually, historically, has only gone after the lowest hanging fruit. And we're seeing this. Look, Hangman Page and the angle with Swerve. We had Shinsuke Nakamura during his bit that he did, say that he was going to make Cody's kids cry. We've had a lot of this in wrestling recently. I mean, we had Josh Alexander. They used his kid in the mix when he came to Steve Maclin and him giving up the Impact title. It just seems like, I don't know. And obviously it's gotten under Brian's skin that they keep using that 6-year-old nephew or niece or whatever it was of Carl Fredericks there, Eddie Thorpe, in NXT as well, too. I mean, it just seems to be just a cheap way to get heat because, everybody's got a family, and I guess they're trying to play off of that. I don't know. Maybe it's it's like the Disney mentality of, like, let's shoot the mom character or let's kill the mom character, and then Bambi or Dumbo or whoever it is has to find their way.
Yeah, Batman as well.
Batman, right? Yeah, I guess. Guess so.
It seems as if, kind of the tropes and stereotypes of different ethnicities and races has kind of been replaced with going after somebody's family or invading their home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there has been no home invasions by Gunther, but he did beat The Miz, and it's the damnedest thing. This has been pointed out to me by more than one person. Brian Alvarez takes a vacation. He's in Hawaii. He's avoiding everything at the time where The Miz may have had the best match of his entire life. The stip was if Miz lost, he would be unable to challenge Gunther again for the title. Wade Barrett told Miz, or says that Miz told him, Tom, that he's been studying catch wrestling experts Carl Gotch and Billy Robinson. Do you believe that?
I do, after seeing the wrist locks and repeated hand attacks that he went after Gunther with. You know what I mean? Staples in the old arsenal of Billy Robinson, the double wrist lock. And you could see that represented in the grip that The Miz would continually take on the right hand of Gunther to stop his Boston Crab, to stop his effective chops. A great display of catch as catch can wrestling by Mike Mizanin. Reminiscent of Farmer Burns. Reminiscent of Frank Gotch. Carl Istaz, as you mentioned.
Stop. Carl
George
Gotch.
Hackenschmidt.
You know, the Miz next action figure that comes out, instead of having Kung Fu grip, I guess now it can have Gable grip associated with it. But he fought valiantly even. Kicked out of a Gunther powerbomb, fought through a sharpshooter, got a near fall with a skull-crushing finale that actually popped the crowd, actually had them chanting one more time. In return, Gunther lariated his head off. He did hit a skull-crushing finale from the top rope. Gunther rolled outside the ring. After Miz rolled him back in, Gunther powerbombed him, delivered a Rainmaker clothesline, and then a stacked powerbomb for the win in 20 minutes. 556 days and counting for Gunther. Look, the CM Punk GTS things, maybe they all turned out to be correct. You think that was some foreshadowing there with the Rainmaker clothesline?
Hey, if they're going to bring in Okada, give me Okada versus Gunther right off the bat. Let's go.
Let's do it at Mania. Let's do it at Mania. Okada doesn't need NXT. I think he can find the hard camera just fine. Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci tried to congratulate their leader, but Gunther says he's the only one pulling his weight around here. He's taking a vacation. They should stay and grind away. That's when Kofi Claus showed up and gave them coal. That will factor into something a little bit later on. Shinsuke Nakamura read his American Nightmare Before Christmas story. Complete with production visuals and whatnot. As he finished up insulting Cody and Cody's entire family, Rhodes jumps Nakamura. They fought through a door, fought through the back, through the crowd, and then made their way out to ringside where security was finally able to separate them. It was a very goofy Raw segment, but it was, I thought, again, done very well in the WWE universe.
I'm glad to see you got that lump of coal out of your throat as you talked about that. But yeah, there was something quite hilarious really about Shinsuke Nakamura reciting a Christmas poem about the damage he's going to do to Cody Rhodes. In the realm of like campy wrestling segments, it was certainly up there, but I liked it.
Beat the hell out of some of the stuff that's been taking place on NXT recently, I can tell you that. I still think NXT is the right place for Caden Carter and Katana Chance, but they won the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship over Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. I'm sorry, the cake stand and the after party still look like junk a majority of the time. I don't hate them or anything like that, but I think this is going to be a short reign. I'm hoping it's a short reign, but I don't know.
My
Tom,
guess,
did you like it?
What is their gimmick? They're partiers? They're ravers?
They,
is that what it is?
They have a gimmick of like what old people think about young people, like ecstasy and raves are new. Like, you know, these girls party and they go whoop whoop.
Whoa, they're juggalos?
That would be good. That would be funny. Give me that instead of this.
If we get a new age oddities with Katana and Kaden, I'll be happy about that. But when I saw this match and I thought about what was going to happen, I thought that they were going to win the titles. And I thought that it was very interesting on Friday night. The Kabuki Warriors were back together. And hey, we love to play fantasy booker. But I'd put those belts on the old Kabuki Warriors ASA pizzle. Yeah, I think that's probably the direction they're going to be going as well, too. Ivar smashed Tozawa in about 4 minutes. Was not a squash as Tozawa got in a lot of hope during the match. Ivar reversed the top rope Rana attempt into the world's strongest slam from the second rope to get the win. That led into WWE Champion Seth Rollins coming out in a terrible outfit to address his public. He started talking about his title defense against Drew McIntyre on January 1st when Drew came down to the ring. As he does, Michael Cole notes that Rollins has not been pinned in a one-on-one match since this past January 3rd. As Cole says that, Rollins strips off that lime green jacket to reveal a red poet shirt with bishop sleeves. This was a blouse,
It's another way of saying blouse, folks. That's what it was. It was a red men's blouse with puffy sleeves. Drew congratulated Rollins.
Hold on.
Yes,
sir. I would guess that was a unisex blouse.
It was probably maybe. Well, I mean, or would they just be unisex blouses, or do they have proper men's blouses, proper men's poet shirts?
If I don't know, But whatever the truth is, Seth Rollins had on one of the most hideous shirts I've ever seen in the history of man.
Drew congratulated Rollins on telling CM Punk exactly what he thought of him last week, then cut a really good promo on wrestling in the States and being away from his family. Says he doesn't want Seth's title. He needs the title to validate all of the sacrifices that he's made. Seth says he doesn't know how to feel about him. Says Drew needs to take responsibility for his decisions. Seth tried to leave after saying that he pities McIntyre. Drew attacked him. They fought out to the floor where Drew smashed Rollins into the ring steps, hurting his left arm. After that, Kofi Claus came out to bring presents to the fans, but got jumped by Kaiser and Vinci. Jey Uso ran down to make the save. Won a match between he and Kaiser in about 10 minutes after a spear in the Uso splash. Wade Barrett, as he would say, seasons yeetings. It was then time for the main event. The Undisputed World Tag Team title, Finn Balor and Damian Priest against the Creed brothers. The champions retained in about 16 minutes. They shoehorned 2 commercial breaks into the match itself, and since we're bumping up on a commercial break ourselves, I will save the body of the match until we get back from break. What do you think about that? Wrestling Observer Live. Dirty and Filthy Tom Lawler here with you to put a bow not only on this show, but on the world-famous Raw review. Creed brothers, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Towards the end of the match is when the crowd really picked up and the match really picked up. Julius Creed is a beast. Overhead belly-to-belly throws, running shooting star press on Balor. They went for the Brutus ball, but Damian pushed Brutus off the top rope. Rhea attacked Ivy, but Ivy just squatted her and walked away from ringside. They just disappeared after that.
No. She threw her face first into the apron.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They did do that. They took 2 attempts, actually, to pull that move off. But as that was going on, they did hit the Brutus ball. Damian broke up the count, got sent outside. Julius then runs up the ropes and flip dives onto Priest on the floor. Julius's legs came down right across the neck and head of Priest. Then back in the ring, they go for the Brutus ball on Damian, and Brutus lands right on Priest's head. Finn then hit the double foot stomp to break up the pin, and eventually Damian hit the South of Heaven choke slam on Julius for the win. And boy, Priest did not look happy, Filthy.
Julius kicked out right after the 3.
He did
as well. He did.
He did. And that, yeah. And you had Priest like looking at him, looking like he said something to him while holding his head. Look, the Creed brothers, I love them. I think they can be the new Steiners. They are greener than grass still. One of the things, the line about the Steiners is they were big enough to put you carefully wherever they wanted you to go. The Creed brothers will do that one day. It just ain't right now.
I thoroughly enjoyed watching this match. I love watching the Creed brothers. Please don't stick me in there against them, Mike. Even if it's you and me teaming up like we are the rest of this week.
You're damn right we are. We don't need Brian Alvarez. Let him go to Hawaii and search for all those specks of green sand that Dave couldn't find. The hell with him. We don't need him because we got all of you out there listening. We got producer Dom. We got producer Jared. And we'll be back, Wrestling Observer Live, tomorrow. Talk to you again after a while. Huh.